Everyone, this is an old video of Kuwait from which I have found from my father's old memory collection. Please enjoy.
Let me introduce you to the lifestyle of Kuwait's Bedouins, or nomads. We traveled far into the Arabian desert to find this camp. شكرا يا
أهلا وسهلا يا هلا.
في 145 بلدا في العالم كل يوم يزداد عدد محبي بيبسي. في أمريكا كما في بلدك، بيبسي كولا هو المرطب الأول وطعم بيبسي هو الاختيار الأول.
Dettol, a reliable friend, can help protect your home against germs, gives you hygienic toilets, clean, fresh bathrooms. Dettol cleans and disinfects waste bins, sinks and floors.
It is germ-free for my baby.
When diluted, it's good for cuts as well.
Dettol protects your home.
Whatever the size of your problem.
اتفضل يا فندم، اتفضل يا بيه.
يا ترى شو طيب هالهمبرجر كل ما تاكله حتطلب اكتر.
فطاير لحمة، شطاير كبدة.
تعال جرب سوق الإيمون يدوب في بقك زي السكر، واللي ما جربش الإمبرج هيبقى ما أكلش الهمبرجر.
Have Cooper scientists improved on their famous pith-path insecticide? Let's see. Even more killing power. New, faster action. No doubt about it. New pith-path. Deadlier than ever.
Got the boys and the girls growing up, growing up. It's that real fresh milk taste. Growing up, growing up. Nido healthy and nutritious. Real fresh milk, so delicious. It's a fresh cup of milk every time, every time, every time. It's a fresh cup of milk every time. It's a fresh
Nido, the growing up milk.
Silky to the touch, with a soft and stretchy urethane band. Instead of ordinary paper diapers, choose the pant-style diaper with the leak-proof gather and super-absorbent Miracle Gel.
هذا هو فجر شامبو صنفك الجديد.
And now we'll show you what Kuwaitis do for relaxation. Not a bad show, but I don't think that fellow Dano has much of a future in television, do you? You don't? Yes. Just like most other countries of the world, television plays a very important part in the leisure time activities of the people of Kuwait. Familiar shows from the United States and other countries around the world are dubbed into Arabic. But they also do some very interesting and creative shows right here from these studios in Kuwait City, which is housed, along with Kuwait Radio, in a very modern and efficient building that is also the Ministry of Information building. Built in 1978, Kuwait Television does a fine job of entertaining and informing its viewing audience. As anywhere in the world, youngsters can always bring smiles to the faces of the entire family and provide pleasant moments for residents and visitors alike. These young ladies are entertaining at a special festival with a traditional dance. Take a look at that pretty face. Little girls always like to dress up and perform. And here in Kuwait, it's much the same as it is wherever you happen to be. There's a form of modern entertainment with roots going back several centuries that's still a vital part of life here in Kuwait. Here are some of the songs and dances of the children that have become traditional through the years. The one we're seeing now comes from the Bedouin tribes of the desert. Bedouin women, on special occasions, let their hair down and perform this exciting dance, demonstrated by these youthful Kuwaitis. It's difficult not to get swept up in the festive atmosphere. Dancers seem to enjoy the activities as much as I do. They've been dancing, entertaining, enjoying all of the festival activities for much of the past 3 days. Some exciting moments when we return. You know, there was a time when these ships of the desert were the prime means of transporting man and goods in this section of the world. But today, transportation has become a little more comfortable and fashionable than it was when you saddled up your trusty camel and rode into the desert. Can you imagine crossing the desert on that? Well, that's the way they did it for hundreds of years. You'd be way up in the air, bouncing around. I don't know if I could do it. Here we have the real thing. Can you imagine the size of that? Now, let's look at a training session for one of today's modern transportation systems. They've never had to use procedures like this, but should the time ever come, these flight attendants are trained in exactly what to do to get the passengers safely out of the aircraft. This is the Kuwait Airways Emergency Training Facility. Flight crews rehearse crash procedures just in case they ever have to use them. The giant 747 simulator is used for overwater ditching training. It's into the life raft to await rescue. If you happen to be flying to Kuwait, you can rest assured that I will not be at the controls of the plane. But you can also count on the fact that the Kuwait airline pilots who will be handling your giant jet will be well trained in routine and emergency procedures. This flight simulator can be programmed for usual and unusual happenings. And the crews here, like crews all over the world, regularly go through extensive training in this incredible piece of machinery. These delicious meals are being prepared for a flight leaving Kuwait. In fact, they do more than 20,000 of these each day. And in each one, you'll find a delightful blend of Western and Middle Eastern cuisine that seems very satisfying to all passengers, including me. How would you like to prepare a dinner for several thousand hungry travelers tonight? After a meal like this, a fella needs to work off a little energy with some young friends. This entertainment attraction called Entertainment City recently opened, much to the delight of children as well as adults. For a few short hours, you can get away from the modern world and go back in time to ancient Arabia, around the world to interesting places, or even forward into the space age. Here we go. flume ride is always a popular attraction with young people like these and a few older folks like me. Wow! I think I recognize that fellow in this young man's sweatshirt. This ride is a favorite with the smaller children. Those fellows over there look fairly friendly, I think. And here's a final look at this exciting attraction from high above, as I prepare to cool off just a bit.
Perhaps the last thing you might expect to see in a place like Kuwait is an ice show. But that's exactly what we're getting ready to see in just a few minutes.
How many skating camels have you seen? This fellow is one of the many, many stars of this special presentation of Aladdin and his magic lamp. The skaters in this show come in all shapes and all sizes. Each of the performers is a local boy or girl who's worked very hard to create a most entertaining and exciting ice spectacular. How's this for some fancy footwork? This makes a novice skater like me very dizzy. If the beauty and grace of synchronized pairs skating is your pleasure, take a look at this couple. It's difficult to believe that this fine ice skating facility has only been in Kuwait for a couple of years, and that these young people have developed so rapidly. The stars of the show take their final bows. and we applaud a job well done. Coming up next is a look at Kuwait's access to the Arabian Gulf and this nation's oil industry. Because of its unique position on the Arabian Gulf, Kuwait has always depended heavily upon the sea for its livelihood. And for countless generations, traders and merchants have utilized the efficient services of a boat called the dhow to sail the Gulf and to travel to many foreign lands. A few of these beautiful ships are still utilized for trade and commerce on the Arabian Gulf, but many are purchased by local residents who simply want to enjoy the recreational aspects of sailing. As you can see, the dhows are still constructed by hand by skilled craftsmen who are determined to keep their craft alive today and tomorrow. This character tried to tell me that he was the foreman on the job, and who was I to argue? You know, yesterday's dhows have yielded to today's giant oil supertankers on the Arabian Gulf. Very interesting exhibits provide an insight into the world of oil and petroleum here at the Kuwait Oil Company Display Center. This illustration, as an example, compares the oil consumption and production for the United States. Kuwait, of course, is very much in the middle of the oil production here on the Arabian Gulf. This is some of the equipment used in petroleum exploration. And the tall oil derricks that may be seen in Kuwait's desert. Kuwait turns crude oil and other energy raw material into usable products for industry and mankind. This is Kuwait's first offshore drilling rig, and we're getting ready to go on a most interesting tour of the actual facility. We're on our way out into the Arabian Gulf to visit an offshore rig called the Al-Baz. The one small thing that they forgot to tell me was that the only way to get up to this rig was by riding 180 feet into the air on this basket. The bottom of the Arabian Gulf is being explored these days for further supplies of natural gas. This giant drilling rig that I'm on, which is one of the largest in the world, will expand the petroleum-producing capacity of Kuwait even further. Richard.
Hello, Jim. Welcome aboard the Al-Baz.
Thank you so much, and I can't tell you how happy I am to be here after that little ride.
It's nice to have you aboard.
Let's go down below.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, this is quite a view you got here.
Oh, it's a beautiful view from this end. Jim, this is one of the 2 VIP suites we have on the Al-Baz.
And who stays here?
Well, any of the senior guests from KOC or from the ministry.
Uh-huh.
This is the control room. This panel over here is where we control the operations for raising and lowering the rig, and also for skidding the derrick in and out.
Did you enjoy playing in the mud when you were young? These gentlemen get to do it every day as part of their job on the Al-Baz.
This is one of the 2 water distillation units.
And you make your own water here?
Yes, sir. Each unit has a capacity to make about 10,000 gallons of water per day. This is one of the legs behind you here, Jim. The thing towers up there quite a few feet, as you can see.
How tall would that be?
All right there is about 150 feet.
150. So the whole thing now is what? How far down are we?
Well, the legs penetrate into the mud about 65 feet. There's another 26 foot of water, and about 30 foot between the top of the water and the bottom of the rig. So altogether, the legs are about 350 foot in length.
350.
Now we're up on the drill floor now where all the action takes place, Jim.
Right. There's a drill bit at the end of that revolving apparatus that is slowly but surely working its way into the bottom of the Arabian Gulf. And one of the most amazing aspects of this entire facility is the fact that it can be moved to another location anywhere in the world once its work is done right here. The job of seeking new and plentiful energy sources goes on and on. From an industry that will be very much a part of Kuwait's way of life for many years to come, we'd like to take you back in time, several thousand years. This is the island of Failaka, just a few miles off the coast of Kuwait. And this fishing town looks today what the city of Kuwait must have looked like a short 40 years ago. But there's something here to take us back in time even further, across the pages of history almost 4,000 years. In 1957, archaeologists found some very important objects here. And these items indicate that Failaka Island may once have been a holy island and part of the lost nation of Dilmun. Findings include red brick, glazed pottery, and the ruin of a temple as Greek as the Parthenon, as well as remains of houses, workshops, and fortifications. This archaeological museum here on Failaka Island houses many of the artifacts unearthed over the past years. Egyptian stones and jars date back to the Bronze Age. Among the most important discoveries on this island were a hoard of coins from Hellenistic times. Here are the actual excavations where these important discoveries were made. This was an ancient temple, obviously with strong Greek influence. Experts feel that tens of thousands of people lived, worked, and worshipped in this ancient city. Its discovery has helped to unravel a few of the mysteries that time has brought. This island also plays an important part in the future of the people of Kuwait. Modern boats bring families out for a day at the beach. And the first phase of a resort development has already been completed. Eventually, there'll be more than 300 chalets. There'll be hotels, restaurants, swimming pools, supermarkets, all the amenities of a first-class vacation. I think it's now time to skim rapidly across the water between Failaka Island and Kuwait City and prepare for a very, very interesting shopping trip. You'll be dazzled when we return. There's hardly any duty on goods imported into this country, and its residents can find virtually any product and do their shopping in modern malls that are air-conditioned, even during those incredibly hot summer months. Designer clothes for both men and women may be purchased in this mall. I almost lost my Scottish mind. Nuts, spices, and food items are always popular. You can find just about anything you've ever wanted or needed, and just about all merchandise is attractively priced by world standards. I can't help but wish that one day I'll have an opportunity to return to Kuwait. Let's leave the mall and make a quick trip to a Kuwait supermarket. Would you believe that hamburgers are a popular food item in this modern grocery outlet?
vegetable department looks strangely like the one back home in my local supermarket. A short stop to buy some coffee cups as a souvenir, then pay my bill quickly so that we can visit a most colorful shopping facility not far from here. Kuwait's souk, or bazaar, is a spot where trading and bartering is probably done much the same way as it was done in the days of Aladdin. Part of the fun of visiting this maze of shops and colorful merchandise is bargaining with the merchants for each and every item on your shopping list. This is how bargaining is done here at the souk. Who said employees don't enjoy their jobs these days? Ah, sit back and just feast your eyes on the many, many items offered by these merchants. How come I always seem to wind up at the bakery and candy shops? I don't understand this strange phenomena. This is a sight that boggles the mind. We're in Kuwait's gold market, and I don't think I've ever seen this much gold at one time in my life. There's everything you want here, all kinds of rings and bracelets and necklaces and everything else. And the opportunity to bargain and get the best price you can. Come on. Gold is sold by weight here, and the workmanship is exceptional. As spectacular as all of this gold might be, there's still a very basic aspect of life here in Kuwait that in many ways is even more amazing. And that's the way that the state of Kuwait cares for the needs of its citizens. People here in Kuwait, like people all over the world, have basic needs that must be met. And this country, perhaps like no other country in the world, has tried to provide those basics in the most impressive manner. Just a short time ago, there was only a handful of doctors. The medical and hospital facilities were not that impressive. No electricity and water. But water had to be brought in by boat from almost 100 miles away in Iraq. Here, for example, is Kuwait's new medical school, where young men and young women study to earn the opportunity to serve the people of their nation. Students utilize modern classrooms and such special equipment as this electronic microscope. This museum at the medical school is used heavily by both students and practicing physicians. Animals play an important part in man's quest to battle illness and disease. These fellows make their own contribution. Modern operating theaters and X-ray facilities are part of the medical school animal area. Medical care for the citizens of Kuwait is free of charge at modern hospitals such as this one. The cardiac care unit is filled with the latest equipment and technology so that patients are assured of the finest care and services. This is where the nursing staff monitors the well-being of each patient. And this is a private room here in the cardiac care unit of the hospital. Kuwait's most famous landmark is these beautiful towers, stretching high into the sky at the very tip of Kuwait City. Kuwait towers are not only beautiful, but useful. The structures provide a storage capacity for Kuwait's water,
a wonderful observation platform, a fine restaurant, and meeting rooms as well. Water, anyone? Up until the 1950s, the state of Kuwait had no electric power. Today they have modern plants like this one, providing enough electrical energy to power the entire country, even during those hot summer days when the temperatures can actually reach 140 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. What you're seeing here is an interesting attempt to put solar energy to work to turn portions of the Kuwait desert into productive land. Here in one of the most arid parts of the desert, above a brackish underground lake, is located an experimental solar plant. The object, of course, is to use the sun to generate power, to turn the water into a usable product which will allow this land to produce two crops, a taller one such as date palms, and other crops such as vegetables to grow beneath the date palms. We're all invited to lunch in a Kuwaiti home, coming up next. Perhaps the best way to learn about people is to step into their home and sample their hospitality. We've been lucky enough to be invited into a lovely Kuwaiti home, so let's go inside and see what it looks like. This is a very beautiful and comfortable home. Looks like the tables are set for our luncheon. As always, the kitchen is the heart of the home. Let me show you some of the food that's been prepared for our midday meal. This, my friends, is the way that lamb should be prepared. And those are just a few things to go with the main course. After a delicious meal, I have just enough time for a quick nap, and we're off to a very interesting museum. We're at a place called Sedu House, right across the street from the Gulf. This is an old house that the government has restored, and they keep it as a weaving center or a place for the arts and crafts of the Bedouins. And the Bedouin ladies make all these things from the sheep from the desert. They get the wool, and the colors that you see here, and we'll see inside, they get from plants of the desert, rocks, and I don't know how they get it from that gray-looking expanse, but they do get all these colors. Let's go inside and have a look at it. A doorway my size. I believe that some of the Bedouin women are waiting for us. They're hard at work dyeing and preparing the wool that will be woven into beautiful rugs, blankets, and pillows. This beautiful home, as I mentioned, was provided by the Kuwaiti government, but the day-to-day operations of this museum are administered by a group of local citizens who are determined to revive and keep Bedouin crafts alive in these days of rapid technological change, where we sometimes forget about our heritage and background. It's almost impossible to comprehend that colors as vivid as these can come from the raw materials that exist in the Arabian desert. These are Bedouin musical instruments, and one of the Bedouin gentlemen has been kind enough to show me how you create a very enjoyable music from basic materials that have been crafted into fine instruments. When you think about music, it seems that just about every group of people in the world, today as well as yesterday, have utilized this art form to relax, enjoy moments with family and friends, and to tell their stories. Here are some very interesting scenes from an annual festival that I had the pleasure of attending here in Kuwait. As always, families come to the festival with eager anticipation of good times and family pleasures. This is an annual event for the families in Kuwait, and much of the population participates in one way or another. You can't tell the special events and attractions without a program. This fountain is the center of the festival park. Ah, there are those dancers again. The dancers are a very popular part of the festival entertainment. Children all around the world must know how to play Simon Says. Young people always enjoy dancing, even when they're this small. Look at these beautiful babies and those beautiful eyes. This three-day festival attracted thousands and thousands of Kuwaiti families. They came to enjoy the rides, exhibits, and entertainment, and to have a wonderful family outing under the warm Kuwait sun. Entertainment ranged from exhibits by falconers to dancing, music, and all the things that people seem to enjoy regardless of which corner of this world that they might live. This was truly a most enjoyable event, not only for Kuwaitis, but for visitors like yours truly.
Amazing, isn't it? A fellow with a name like MacArthur can come all the way to Kuwait and see a pipe band. So no matter where you hear or see the pipes around the world, it's always a stirring sound. This is the Boy Scout Pipe Band of Kuwait. This number by the pipe band is uniquely Arabic. May I show you what I'll always remember most about my visit to Kuwait? It's the faces of the people who make this country what it is. Here are some friends of mine. Young, old, male, female, Kuwaiti, expatriates, but always pleasant and hospitable.
At the beginning of our show, you heard some Americans describe what they thought Kuwait was all about. Now, here are some Kuwaitis to tell us about their country.
Kuwait is a modern, secure, beautiful country.
Kuwait is beautiful, bright, and you can enjoy the family feeling in this country.
Beautiful.
Friendly people.
And incredible.
It is a very small country and it's very rich.
It's very rich because we have petrol here.
Kuwait is a country of freedom and democracy.
If I may, I'd like to add a few personal thoughts about Kuwait and its people. As we've seen, there's more to this country than the shifting sands of the desert or the changing tides of the sea, or even the stature of the physical and creature comforts they have here. What I think is most impressive is the attitude that lies deep within the heart of the people, young and old, men and women, which explains the past, the present, and bids well for the future. For their warm hospitality, I'd like to thank the people of the state of Kuwait. And for those watching an American in Kuwait, I'd like to thank each of you. Kuwait. Hi. Oh, here we go, Aliyah. Okay, honey? Promotional assistance and/or consideration have been provided by the following. The Commercial Bank of Kuwait, providing complete banking and financial services for the people of the state of Kuwait. Modern facilities, convenient locations, and friendly assistance make banking with the Commercial Bank of Kuwait an enjoyable experience for both business and personal customers. Kuwait Santa Fe Braun, working to fully develop the petroleum and energy potential for Kuwait's present and future. On land or in the Arabian Gulf, Kuwait Santa Fe Braun is efficiently seeking to provide for the energy needs of Kuwait and the world. Kuwait Airways, linking Kuwait with New York, London, Europe, the Middle East, the Far East, and Southeast Asia with friendly, comfortable service. When you fly to or from the Middle East, fly Kuwait Airways. The Kuwait Sheraton Hotel, the first international hotel in the Arabian Gulf, is Kuwait's leading hotel. When you visit Kuwait, enjoy the extensive facilities of the Kuwait Sheraton.